Welcome to Sad Boys, a podcast about feelings and other things also. I'm Jarvis.
I'm Jordan.
Okay, let's get to it. Wait, how are you? How are you doing, buddy?
Oh, all right. I think I'm on my quest. I continue my quest to be a regular sleeping bastard.
Okay, how is that going?
Kind of well. It honestly almost makes me well up how much better I feel with. This is not some grand health revelation, right? It's not one of the Joe Rogan if you eat a bunch of protein powder directly in your nose, you'll actually gain. There's not.
Yeah, you can't mix bananas and blueberries because they'll cancel out.
We literally just watched so we can't.
It's like some things are for us.
It's so absurd that someone said that out loud and then didn't have to go to jail.
Yeah.
But sleep does make you feel a lot better. But it was like
and a dream is a wish your heart makes.
Yes, it's a promise you make to the skies.
Yeah.
I don't think I was anticipating it's been. I've had horrific sleep my whole life, super insomnia kid, got a little older, once passed puberty and weird mental shifts, then got a teensy bit more stable, plus worked in an office, had to more necessity, right? And now I fell off the wagon again for a while there, especially over COVID, a lot of missed nights and things like that. And then recently, medication was prescribed to me a long time ago that I hadn't been taking. I've started taking consistently. It just makes you so drowsy for the first month.
Yeah, it's tough.
Leveled out. It's explicitly for sleep. I take it now before I go to bed. It works. Actually straight up works.
Hell yeah.
And I am, funnily enough, this was a question I was actually going to ask you on the show because I thought it was an interesting check-in because you'd been doing some medical stuff and recent history and part of it was medication related. I was going to ask you for people, a lot of people listen to the show and then will comment or reference you encourage me to go to a psychiatrist and get medication or try medication, and we never want to advocate for medication without diagnoses, right? It's not just
or just
pills.
add for medication in general because
there's plenty of methods. Folks. It just worked for us. Just I'd be if you want to get into shape, I'm not going to say do swimming. I like swimming, but that's not it's not the only thing.
Or I'm not going to recommend a specific diet or something like that. Yeah.
Or if it's only raw flour, I probably would recommend that obviously because it increases. It's so good for you. I'm on one of those conspiracy podcasts. Hi, I'm Joe Rogan. Finally, getting somewhat consistent sleep, kind of 6, maybe 7 hours, usually has set a foundation in the same way that I feel my mental health medication did.
Ooh, yeah.
Where it is
brings the floor up.
It's not a high. It feels like a high initially, and you're God, am I too on right now? And you're just on, normal, on. But I don't know, getting here today, I had a breakfast, which I normally don't,
Look at that guy.
There's a little time to move it around.
Little breakfast moment.
I say something so fucking crazy. You're going to think I'm insane. I'm not kidding. I've been mildly inspired by the Brian Johnson documentary.
I know what you mean.
For people who don't know, last episode we talked about the vampire man that drinks his son's blood.
Yeah, because it's because the real thing is if you do 1/1000th of what he's doing,
it'll work.
It'll be healthy. And if you do any of the other things, then you've delved into non-science. Maybe this will kill you.
Remove experimental medication that you can get on a remote island. Remove consuming your son's plasma and remove checking his erection. Once those are gone, pick maybe some good things from his routine.
I have a friend who works in, they're doing their PhD in anti-aging stuff.
Oh.
And I talked to them about, and they were yeah, he's a joke. In sometimes he'll be he's kind of a funny joke in that community.
That's got to be so frustrating, being a big advocate for the academia of it, really genuinely caring about it, and then your biggest advocate, the most forward-facing person, be if actors hated Tom Cruise.
Well, it's when Elon Musk comes in and he's I run the government now.
Did you know that?
Did you see he hired a bunch of 19-year-olds to run Doge?
Just normal bloke of the year, regular guy.
And then the other thing he did, which is very funny, is that when all his Doge teenagers arrived, the government was who the fuck are you? And they had a standoff.
They're
and then
sir?
they had to get special permission to get let in to do their jobs because they're what the fuck is Elon doing?
Why are there two employees?
Is he even officially an employee of the government? What is happening?
No, he's just hanging out, man.
It does feel like he's just hanging out.
Well, the plug won't go home.
Yeah, dude, literally my dealer is still sitting with me on the couch, bro. He said, let's watch a documentary. I said, you go home.
No, let's play 2K, man.
Dude, no, but I was just thinking, there's a new nature doc. I heard it's voiced over by Obama.
Happy
That's
to
true,
chill
by
out.
the way.
Really?
It's not new, but there is a one of those nature docs. I can't remember. It's a famous one, but it's the squirrels and caterpillars.
I would love to kiss him.
Working together.
Naming every animal.
He just goes down the list.
The cow goes moo.
The cow goes moo.
The sheep goes.
The sheep goes beep.
Mr. President, please stop recording.
Sasha, Malia, Michelle, both.
Yeah, sleep works a little bit, turns out. But genuinely, the Brian Johnson, just seeing like the degree of regulation in his morning was very appealing.
Dude, tell me if this is wrong. I don't think it's anything about the Brian Johnson doc other than seeing someone work out. Yeah. For me, it's like kind of just like, working out. I should,
Everyone's like, and also that's like the weird side part to all of the, he like snorts elephant penis or whatever, and then just works out and has a protein shake.
Right. It's like, there's too many. He's like, I do everything normal that you're supposed to do for your health, and then I drink the rat poison. And it's like, what? And it's like, it's like an experimental rat poison.
And I feel bad.
They found out it made like rats like telepathic or whatever, but in
dead.
humans it might.
One of the two. It was dead. Yeah. Now I think about it. But
there are a few things. I learned that, I don't know specifically what he takes, but when I was talking to my friend, apparently a lot of people take this like diabetes medication that like can extend your life for 5 years. And so like they don't know if there's any like downsides about it.
Oh my God.
It's crazy because
isn't
like,
Ozempic also a diabetic medication?
Could be.
Just all
and
the
then
diabetes
Ozempic
medication.
might. Oh God! By the way, I'm not a doctor or anything like that, and
Not
nor am
anymore.
I recommending any of these things.
Not after what happened.
But like my understanding is that like, well, all these things are also like the science is still out, so you're like kind of guinea pigging yourself for like the long term. But because like Ozempic can apparently give you stomach paralysis, where like you like don't digest quickly like ever, and like even if you go off of it, there's potential that it like doesn't fix itself, which is apparently one of the big side effects with Ozempic. But Ozempic could. Like it'll take probably a fucking multiple decades to know this, but it's like possible that it's just like a miracle drug that just like increases your lifespan because of all the comorbidities with like health, the other health outcomes from people who like cannot in another way like lose that weight. Again, it's like a tricky thing to talk about, but it's like this is like in the case where your doctor is saying we think it's in your best interest to pursue this medication.
I mean, if my if Special K, number one king, my psychiatrist came along and he was like, hey, turns out lamotrigine like could be creating jeopardy in your lifespan by like 10 years or so, I would probably keep taking it.
No, it's an interesting thing.
And unless there was an alternative that was solved, and bearing in mind the issues I have resolved by that are like not even close to the struggle that people can have with chronic obesity or chronic weight issues. Or
smoking is the same thing where it's like people choose to smoke knowing that it can reduce their life expectancy by like 5 to 10 years or something. And it's like I don't think less of somebody for, well, it's like if someone does it responsibly and doesn't sort of secondhand smoke other people and like, there's all these kind of politeness things where
there are circumstances.
and there's also culture. And I'm just not going to, I know what works for me and what I want, and I'm not going to kind of say what you need to do.
I think you can do absolutely any, I mean, not to be a fucking libertarian about it, but like, the utilitarian idea of, what is it, freedom principle or whatever, where like, as long as you're not infringing on somebody else's freedom, then you can do whatever you want with yourself. I think that's like a very narrow point of view because you do not know what the consequences of what you're doing could have. It's like, it would rely on you knowing omnisciently like what everything could do. Is like, hey,
butterfly effect.
Don't litter. Well, it's because the city will pick it up. Like, okay, maybe, but like, what if someone slips on it and falls into traffic?
Right. What if someone slips on it, they backflip, they fall into a radioactive vat, become Spider-Man?
What if? Wait, this is a good idea.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You never know.
God, do you think anyone has been like, I should have radiated myself?
Speaking of the butterfly effect.
Powers.
I watched a crazy documentary. So I've been on a documentary kick recently.
I've been on a bit of a doco.
It's
what did we watch the other day?
I've been hanging out with my Dolgo. We will Brian Johnson.
Oh,
the documentary about the guy. What did we watch?
We watched it about not Maury, the other one.
Oh, Jerry Springer.
Yeah,
we did watch. That was maybe one of my that kind of got me on the kick a little bit because we were all watching it. Peeps was there.
Yeah, we were.
This was Fire Times.
This was Fire Times. I have not stopped thinking about that documentary.
You got to watch episode 2. It's crazy.
Watch episode 2.
It's crazy.
What's the new doco?
Oh, okay. So I was so I've been watching documentaries all over the spectrum a lot of them on dark topics. Like there was an O.J. Simpson documentary that just came out, and then there was one about the horrific like Boston Marathon bombings that I watched. Because I like remember being online during that and seeing things develop in real time and being glued to like Reddit and reading the updates. And I was so curious, like what actually went down.
And what is the public consensus now?
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. The crime docs always, I feel like they talk to too many cops and there's too much like people going like, you know, we're saving the world.
Back the blue, baby. Yeah.
Yeah. But there was a OJ doc that's 10 years old that, or 8 years old. It was like 30 for 30 series, ESPN's like doc series. And it went into more of like the socioeconomic factors and like the stuff that let the sort of racial tensions rising with OJ's, leading up to like where things were at in 1994 when like OJ was on trial. And
the repercussions of the like riots, etc.
Yeah, like because I knew about Rodney King, but there were some sort of inciting events that I didn't know about.
Yeah, there's such a like proliferation, as if like harassment by the police and like.
And I'll be honest, it didn't feel that different to today at all. And that is like, there's a part of that that's like upsetting because it's like, have we really made any progress? But
I think now
I do think I tend to be an optimist about these things macroscopically, while microscopically trying to stay cynical.
It's at least encouraging that there is a cohort of people not a part of the community or diaspora, but like that do still care. Yeah. That feels significantly different as opposed to like, I mean, talk about a bad advocate for a community. Kind of sucks to have OJ right at the front, and we're judging black people based on this guy. Oh, he's your king, right?
It was a whole thing too, because OJ, like famously during the Olympics, when OJ was at like USC playing football and being like a big star, there were the Olympics in 1992, I want to say, or not 1992. This was the 60s. yeah, in like the late 60s, where what am I saying? Anyway, in the 60s. There were these like runners. I don't know how many Olympians participated in this, but there were these two runners that got like first and third in like one of the races, 200 meter, something like that. And they did like kind of the Black Power, like fist up, like on their podium.
Cool.
And it was, and then the news covered it like they were thugs.
They took a knee.
They called them like radical and all that shit like that. It's literally like they took a knee. And like OJ would be asked about that back in those times, and he's like, I don't want to be a part of that, basically.
Yeah.
And so like
he's kind of Michael Jordaning it a little bit.
He basically was like, I'm not black, I'm OJ, and literally like left his black wife for Nicole Brown, and then was kind of only like palling around with like white people. And so he wasn't seen as like, he did this big Hertz ad, Hertz rent a car. I just didn't get a sense of like how big of a star he was.
Yeah.
He left the NFL to pursue acting,
which
is like
Naked Gun, baby.
Right. But that's like so crazy if you think about it. Cause that type of transition, it's like The Rock.
Yeah.
Like, I think he was kind of like in his time, kind of had a more meteoric rise. Like The Rock kind of like rose slowly. And
it was manual. It was a lot.
He became the biggest thing, but it kind of felt like OJ was like, I'm being held back by being a star NFL player. Yeah. I need to go transcend that.
I guess he'd already class consciousness his way out of being perceived by the industry as black.
And that was the whole thing. It's like, even when Hertz took him on, there's all these people in this documentary being like, yeah, like test audiences like didn't care that he was black because he transcended race, but at what cost, right? Because it's like
being an advocate. He is so good that he was able to escape being black,
right? Because it's like, and then but he's like, it looked like he pulled the ladder up kind of after him, right?
Yeah,
he's like, down. if you want to be like me, just do what I did, but you're all for yourself.
Yeah. First of all, pull up your pants, okay?
But then when he was arrested and tried, his defense, and Johnny Cochran being like so involved in like kind of civil rights and things like that,
and the most charismatic man in the world.
It's like kind of insane. I literally sent Ole like a ton of messages because I was like, man, I don't think I could be a defense attorney because like I believe, and I don't think this is crazy, that OJ did the crime, right?
He was convicted in civil court.
He was convicted in civil court, but there's a lower burden of proof in civil. But then there was also a I don't want to show it because it's a little dark, and I didn't even want to get into this much of the darkness. But I will say, after OJ got off for the crimes, he wrote a book called "If I Did It," and then Ron Goldman's family like got the rights, and then they released it, but they made the title like have the "if" really tiny. But then there was a TV special that accompanied that, and it's kind of been like it's on YouTube now. But there's this interview with OJ where he's talking about the night hypothetically.
Oh, he's being all coy about it.
He's
like
being
cheeky.
coy, and he hysterically laughs when he's like, this is all hypothetical, right? And then the crazy thing, and again, this is my conspiracy hat is on, but then also I think a lot of people believe that based on his actions, he did do it. But there's a part where he talks about how Ron Goldman, when he approached him, he didn't know him, which is true. He did a karate stance. And people are like, how did he know? Like Ron Goldman was a 3rd-degree black belt. OJ didn't know this man. So that detail kind of feels like maybe it's not hypothetical and he was, but anyway.
All the stranger if he then found out separately and was like, oh, I didn't kill him, but anyway, it'll be fun to pretend.
But anyway.
If I did it. Come on, man.
This episode is sponsored by Rocket Money.
Listen, I'm hip. I'm up to date with all the shows.
Oh, young.
And part of the problem with that is that people are talking about Severance, and then I go, Severance. I've been signed up to Apple TV for 3 years.
Oh!
And I haven't been watching anything on it.
Someone got me to sign up for Rubo Plus because I needed to watch a series.
I'm signed to Rubo VT. It's like Tubo TV meets Fubo Me.
It has 500 shows and none of them are good.
And it's exclusive on Flimbo. The problem here is that I wasn't using today's sponsor, Rocket Money, because they can notify me about the unwanted subscriptions that I have and help me cancel them.
Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps you find and cancel those sneaky, unwanted subscriptions, monitor your spending, and also helps you grow your savings by lowering your bills.
You can easily create a personalized budget with custom categories to keep your spending on track, and you can view your spending trends by category and know exactly where your money's going.
And the new goals feature automatically saves money for you, which can help you pay off credit card debt, build up your savings, or just make a lovely, nice, large purchase that you've been thinking about in the back of your brain. You know what it is.
Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved those users over $500 million in unwanted subscriptions. And that amounts to about $740 per year per customer if you're using their premium features.
So cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/sadboys today.
That's rocketmoney.com/sadboys. rocketmoney.com/sadboys. But the craziest thing to me about that was just erasing white people's connection to OJ. They would like put up like basically all the photos in his house that had like had white people. They like got rid of them. Basically, they made it seem like OJ was like more of a member of the black community at large than he was, even though he had explicitly diminished that. Like
once the utility was there.
He was not political. You know what I mean? Like he was like, that was why he was safe.
Well, somebody gets, called out for like years of bad behavior or like abuse or something like that, then all of a sudden they pivot alt-right.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, actually the whole time I liked the people that won't get mad at me.
But yeah, basically they like made it, and they also had like 8 black jurors, and they're now those, like there's been documentaries where multiple of those black jurors have gone on record and said, I felt like I was, first of all, they deliberated for 3 hours. The trial took 8 months.
3 hours?
3 hours, yeah. Everyone went on vacation, and then like because normally it's like a day for every, what is it? It's an hour for every day. That's the rule of thumb, an hour for every day the trial went on or something like that.
Might even not have that much life left.
No, dude, no, it was crazy. But then like there's, in one of the older documentaries, I think this juror, they didn't show up in the later documentaries. I don't know what happened to them, but they were like, yeah, I felt like I was voting as like a get back for like Rodney King. Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, that makes sense. Cause it's like it's a vote of protest against the system that has systemically wronged people.
And it's the biggest opportunity they'll ever have. In their life, they'll never get a bigger chance to have that kind of impact ever.
it's just, and then OJ continued to be an insane person after that.
Truly crazy. Moved to Vegas and then apparently would just ruin restaurants. Just go to restaurants and like shake tables and be weird.
He got involved with some guys who then they were going to steal back his. Basically, he lost a civil case, owed $33 million, but then just like spent the next few decades hiding any money that he would make strategically so that collectors couldn't collect on it and give it to the family of victim's family.
An Alex Jones strat.
Yeah. And so, it's just crazy. But then there's just so many flaws in our criminal justice system. This is not news, but OJ did like an armed robbery / kidnapping, but like there's video of it. And what it was like him and some guys, and one of the dudes had a gun, and they like went to go steal back some memorabilia of OJ's, which he thought was stuff that was taken from his house when they were like moving everything out of the house to hide it. But it was actually just like footballs and things that he had signed. And
signing a football and then keeping it.
Yeah, but he didn't. But then this is all alleged, I think. And but then he got caught up in that, and then they pinned him for like kidnapping and armed robbery on like kind of technicalities. But what's crazy is he got 33 years.
Yeah, the consensus is that the
consensus is it was like they were like trying to right the wrong of him not getting jail time, and like that type of thing is like a little bit, it feels wrong to me, even like that feels like abusing the system the other way.
Well, yeah, I mean, if we're gonna,
not that he's not a horrible person who
if we're gonna pretend that it's a real system, then abide by the rules. Like the rules don't make any sense, and they are biased and they are broken. And the fact that your job as a defense attorney is to, at that like scale, is to defend them, even if you know for a fact they did it. That's weird team sports bullshit. Yeah. But as soon as you sign up for the team sports, you have to play by them. That's
you
what
have
you
to.
said,
you have to. Yeah, no, I mean that was the weirdest thing.
I've never understood why do the jurors need to be in the room? Why do they not read just a breakdown of events?
Because it's all like presenting an argument, is my understanding. So you're like showing evidence and presenting this argument, and it's all
you're rizzing.
Yeah, and the thing about the first OJ trial is it was to the cameras.
It was the first major like televised one, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think there was one right before that. There was it was the brothers.
Oh,
Menendez brothers?
Menendez brothers, yeah. That's a whole other can of worms. But just like opening up all this public scrutiny on this thing that like when people are talking about, it was very new. But like now I know that if you put a camera on somebody, they're going to perform to the camera.
Yeah, of course.
And so,
not to mention they know the consequences forever. Like that, any of those jurors are going to be held to by everyone else for the rest of their life. Whatever the result was, they're part of it.
The reason the system felt so broken is because like OJ could assemble this crack team of like literally the Avengers. I think they called them the Dream Team. Of all of his lawyers, and they did like systematically dismantle the prosecution. But there were so many things that went their way. Like there happened to be this like racist old cop that found the glove. And then they were able to like find all this shit on him, and it was allowed to be admitted into evidence, even though it became more about discrediting this guy who found the glove, because they were making this argument. They were trying to plant the seeds of doubt that the LAPD could have planted the evidence to frame OJ, which absolutely they could have.
They were somehow able to find a series of racist behaviors from an LA cop.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's the thing. It's like, well, these seeds of doubt are already planted because this is the LAPD we're talking about.
Yeah, this dog pissed on the ground.
It's just like the stuff with just like, now this is just my pure vibes thing, but whenever he's asked about it, like he's like, in that one note, he's like, I hope one day we can find, Nicole and Ron's killer. And then later on, he's asked about it. One of the fucking, oh no, this is crazy. This is going to bring it. This is going to bring it. One of the fucking Nelk boys has OJ on before he died. Like search OJ Nelk boys.
The killer of Ron and Nicole was never found?
Right now, I'm not going to discuss any of that. All right? Yeah, I think that's a pretty obvious question. But I'm not getting in that. I'm not going there.
Like, why wouldn't you just say...
What's the episode then?
No, but that's such a.
Tell us about your college record.
I'm not getting into that. Like, okay, maybe it's just vibes, but like, it's a simple no. It's like when you watch, or are you upset? Does it hurt you? You just say, yeah, it hurts me. Like, because it's like when you watch the Senate confirmation hearings, and then they're like, RFK Jr., do you think like. Do you think vaccines are bad? And he's like, I can't answer that question. These are simple.
You should.
Yeah, like
In the affirmative or the negative.
that happens in the OJ trial because they ask the racist cop dude who, Mark Furman, they ask him if he planted evidence, but it's in the cycle of him. He comes back after they start making the trial about him. And then he under his attorney's advice or whatever, he pleads the fifth on everything. But then the optics are, they go, did you plant the evidence? And he goes, I plead the fifth. And so it's like, okay, well then fucking now it looks like you planted the evidence.
Looks like you did do that. Yeah. There's this is the wrong thing to focus on or whatever, but like, OJ, then what the fuck are we doing the episode about, right? If we're not going to talk about the trial, if we're not going to talk about the case. Yeah, I mean, did Leslie Nielsen do anything funny on the set of fucking the movie? It was Naked Gun fun to work on?
Yeah.
Did you do your own stunts like that for an hour and a half?
It's why
He talks like the Riddler when he talks about it. You shall not know if I killed who you say.
This reminds me a lot of, have you guys heard of The Jinx?
Yes.
Yeah.
Jacob, on my computer right now is I'm so on the documentary kick. I was like, I watched season 1 of The Jinx way back in the day, and then last year they came up with part 2. So I loaded up part 2 last night before I went to sleep, and I'm going to watch it after the show.
I had no idea they came out with part 2. I feel like I watched the part 1 of The Jinx on my first weekend in America ever, because I was staying with Cole and my
J.
first
Cole.
Buster Patreon, J. Cole.
Yeah, Hollywood Cole, Jermaine.
He said he was like, help me write this song, Drippy. I was like, well, I've got a homophobic bar if that helps.
Yeah.
It's
grippy.
Oh yeah, shit. It was Drippy. That's way worse.
Grippy is way worse.
But yeah, I was staying with them and they put it on, and I had like no conception of crime documentaries really, at least not the American style crime documentary. Like the British one is just like, it's some guy in the middle distance on a stock lens, slow pan to him. The whole thing costs like $15 to produce. And he's just like, what you will notice about the killer is that he murdered them. BBC credits.
Notice how he
scrolling up.
did it.
Now, did he do it? Yes.
Back to you.
Back to you.
It's another one. They knock a bunch out, like they're filming episodes of ridiculousness. Yeah, they're like,
Oh my God! All right, what else we got?
what else we got? Okay, this guy, he also did it.
Alexander Hamilton shot. Yep. Keep it moving.
In Weehawken, New Jersey. So this is all a preamble for the real thing I need to talk about, which is the craziest documentary I watched last night. It's called Long Shot. I don't know when it came out. It's about this guy, Catalan. 2017. Yeah. Okay. It came out in 2017. It's old doc. Okay. Don't look because I want to tell you about it.
Oh, he said that.
So it's 2017. I recommend it. It's only 40 minutes long. It's a story about a guy who gets caught up and is the prime suspect in a murder of a 16-year-old girl, that he is like, I didn't do this. I just look like the composite sketch, because the composite sketch is like,
It's like the 3D render they do or whatever.
No, it's like a true sketch.
Oh my God.
And also this guy's brother was on trial for murder or something. And the victim was in the jury and then he was present. So they established the motive that this was a juror in his brother's like thing and he wanted to get his brother off, but he had nothing to do with any of it. He was just there as a family member in the audience, right? And so he goes to a Dodgers game with his daughter. They watch the Dodgers game. They leave the Dodgers game. As he's leaving, he buys some baseball cards. There's a baseball card stand. I'm like, I love this guy. Like, it's like, he's like, I gotta buy some baseball cards. I'm like, you are the man. I'm not a baseball guy, but like, I get it. You know what I mean? The way he has to prove that he didn't do it. We were talking about the butterfly effect earlier. He has like a perfect memory of the game because he's like been a baseball fan his whole life.
Oh.
So he's like talking about the game. He like knows where he was sitting.
This is his alibi.
He's talking through his alibi. He's like explaining his alibi to his defense attorney. He's like, I was at the game. He knows where he was sitting. They can't find the tickets. Like they can't find the tickets. So it's like, and they can't find the receipts for like the thing. But he's like, I was there. They were filming something. It was weird. I don't know what they were filming. I've been to 100 Dodgers games and I've never seen them film anything like that. So it was weird to me. And so then his defense attorney goes to Dodgers. They get the calendar of like what events were happening. And on that day in 2003, they were filming an episode for season 4 of Curb Your Enthusiasm.
That's insane.
It's insane. And in that episode, Larry David goes to the Dodgers game. First, he went to Dodger Stadium and they got the cameras from the stadium. They can find him in a seat, but it's too low resolution. Like you can tell that it's him,
Sure.
but it's like, that's not enough, right?
It's as accurate as like a sketch or something like that. You know?
Yeah, exactly. And so then he's able to get in contact with HBO and is able to go to the editing bay for
That's
Curb Your Enthusiasm.
so wild.
And they recorded on tapes back then. So they went through the tapes of the footage. And it just so happened that a PA, he went to the bathroom with his daughter or took his daughter to the bathroom or something. They're walking back to their seats. And normally they were like, the thing about the stadium is that they're not supposed to, like they're not supposed to, like these are paying patrons of the stadium. So they're filming the show, but they're not supposed to really get in their way.
Yeah.
So they would just be like, wait when somebody was like trying to walk down the aisle. And the PA didn't know they were rolling and let Juan and his daughter walk down the aisle. So there's this like 4K for 2003, like video of them like walking to their seats and you can just see them clearly on the thing in this like B-roll, like unused shot from Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Oh my God.
And then they get Larry David in the documentary and he's like, I thought it was crazy. He's like,
crazy.
It's pretty cool, wasn't it?
I remember doing his like
He's
weird
like,
flailing arms.
He's like,
we were filming the episode where I catch the baseball and there's a little kid that wants it. I won't give it to him. That's my guess of what the episode is.
You're so close. It was he had shitty seats and then one of his friends had good seats. And so he went down to like give him a shit about it. But so then
I gave you that deli meat.
But then the prosecutors were like, that proves nothing. The murder happened at this time. So he could have left the game early. They have his daughter.
I've got to just shoot out and kill someone.
He's got his daughter with him. And his daughter's like on the stand going like, yeah, we bought baseball cards after the game. And then they're like, no, he left. He's a murderer. He left. And then the dudes who were, they have the audio of his interrogation. And they're like, he's like, no, I didn't do anything. Like, I didn't do anything at all. And then you're going to be so like, you're going to find out this is the wrong guy and you're going to have to live with that. And then they're like, no, it's not the wrong guy because you're a murderer, blah, 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 blah.
This crayon drawing shows it.
Yeah. And then, so just the video from Curb Your Enthusiasm isn't enough. They end up going through phone records. I'm just spoiling the whole documentary, by the way, but it's still a good watch.
I mean, now I'm worried about him. I want to.
They go through the phone records and then, and it comes back to OJ. His defense attorney remembers that the way they found where OJ was the what his cell phone was bouncing off of what cell tower.
Oh.
And you could localize it to kind of, because the cell towers only have a certain range. So they looked at he made a call at like a time that would have been he would have had to have been committing the murder, but he was like on the phone with his girlfriend and they found out that the cell phone tower that was hit for that call was like at Dodger Stadium. Like could have only been at Dodger Stadium or within like that 1 mile radius, which is far enough away from where the murder happened.
Could have been on speakerphone.
So like the combination of those things, like it never went to a jury trial. It got thrown out where it was like decided whether or not it was going to go to jury trial.
That is a truly insane amount of evidence required versus just like, well, I don't know. I own that shirt and I look like, even in the low res, I was there. So thanks.
There's something about the incredulity of people who are like these prosecutors, like there's this old interview and it's like the HBO thing proves nothing. He did this. We know it. And it's like, okay, but you're actually wrong. And he didn't do it. So
I really feel like it. So
and so
it was 500 days ago, and I'm pretty sure.
The documentary ends with this this footage of the two guys who interrogated him admitted to asking him like leading questions and basically doing the interrogation in a very unethical way. And so they were like moved off of murder cases forever or whatever. But I'm like, they should have gotten fired.
But, pal,
that guy almost like fucking went to jail for the rest of his life.
You shouldn't be allowed to like drop the scalpel inside the patient and be like, I'm sorry, my bad. And then like, no, you can't do this anymore. That's crazy.
Last year I was on a kick of watching medical malpractice documentaries. We'll talk
Jesus
about that
Christ,
later.
right.
There's one about a back doctor who's
you just really want nightmares or
evil. Yeah. I usually try to watch them right before I go to bed.
too much, not discontent enough.
Yeah. But anyway, so that documentary ended up being like having a nice ending, and I thought the dude was really sweet. The one note I'll make about it, they shot the documentary in extreme close up, and it was really annoying.
Like heavy bokeh. And
can you
like
maybe
Ted Lasso?
Jacob like pull up like images from it? Like maybe we can find it. Yeah, like yes.
Oh, come on,
I'm like back up, bro.
I love baseball. I can't say that enough. Every time I'm there, I soak it all in. I'm gonna get you out of here.
What's can I ask? I watch some of these sometimes, if they're like highly recommended, like the drinks, right? But how do you feel if you watch one of those and it does, like a Making a Murderer kind of, where it like has resolved in a wrongful conviction and they do get locked up? Are you like kind of rattling after that? Because there's a catharsis of somebody like being free, but like.
It just makes you think about.
Like Katie will just watch. I mean, you watch Rotten Mangoes as well sometimes.
Yeah.
But I've watched.
Oh my god, the Rotten Mango that came out yesterday is insane.
Oh my god, really?
It's about like it's about a evil babysitter that like was caught on the.
The nanny cam.
Yeah, basically caught on a security cam, like tossing a newborn.
Oh, my
it's
god.
Horrible. Yeah.
So I don't.
The newborn's okay.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I don't know the. I've heard it described as like, I don't know, not cathartic, but like,
for me,
enlightening. I don't know what to call it.
For me, it's morbid curiosity. And I think it gives me some sort of, like, I think I am fearful of the system because I don't always feel, wonder why, don't always feel the system is like built for someone like me.
You're a thug.
So I don't really watch, I think that I've had periods of watching like, more murder documentaries, like straight ahead stuff, but that stuff I don't really watch that anymore. It's usually like systemic things that are
because I'm so curious about,
because I have watched it and I think if there's an interesting story to tell, sure, but I think there's usually something about society to glean that I find interesting as I'm like kind of learning. I still feel like I'm like learning just pastiches of the world that we live in. Cause I don't feel like I suffer from, fear. And I know this about myself. Like I don't watch these things like right before I go to bed. I'll like switch to, somebody who's locked themselves to like one tile of RuneScape and they have to figure out how to play the game or whatever.
Can I complete a Sekiro speedrun with only my eyebrows just to free myself of
That's literally like that just fills up my brain RAM and then I don't no longer think about the other thing.
I like to end my night by deleting Bellatrix and swearing never to download it again. Yeah. Every single night.
I've heard people talk about how like women watch true crime because it makes them feel more prepared.
Sure, yeah.
For me, it's like that, but maybe for like the system.
Yeah.
Like if that makes sense.
That's always what I just thought exclusively, right? I'm like, okay, well, what is an experience that I'm lacking? I can sympathize for like feeling vulnerable in the world, for like for your physical safety in the world, walking alone, etc. Like I can sympathize but not empathize, right?
Yeah.
At least 99% of the time. I mentioned that, I think, talked to Katie and some other people about that. I'm like, is that what it is? And sometimes yes. And I think the other appeal is like, it's like a stretching your emotional compass here and there, almost like getting up in the morning and like stretching to keep your ligaments kind of like fresh and open, where you go like, all right, I can't, sometimes I need to flex my fear muscle or I need to flex my, like play it a little bit. But I think the preparedness is
but I also when I'm watching like a sports documentary, that's more about I feel like I'm learning something about something I'm interested in, and it's filling in more of a picture.
I definitely feel like I have more stamina for that stuff too. Like I've watched Hassan watch a true crime here and there, and they're a bit propaganda-y for me because Hassan loves cops.
No. But that's the other thing is I was gonna say is like I also noticed that, and it almost feels voyeuristic to me to view how these cops view themselves.
And how a lot of normies view cops as legitimate, like, hey, the issue is there's a lot of bad apples lately. And that we need to fix. The OJ doc
is full of that because it's all these cops going like, you know, just because there's one bad guy, we're not all bad, like type thing. And I'm like, okay, sure, but like there's more bad apples than people want to believe. And when people criticize the system in that way, everyone jumps to defend the system rather than because the system doesn't appear to police itself and to regulate itself.
You know, it's a little. What's your? I don't know. I feel like there's no escaping social and cultural propaganda, right? It is. It's a miasma. It's around us like a fog, and we can put a mask on, try and not inhale it, but it's there our whole lives. And things that we're raised to believe, even ambiently, do kind of sink in there. Whether it's adhering to gender roles, social behaviors. Trust in like economic systems is a big one. Like, yeah, that guy's poor because he didn't save. And it's like, that brings people that say stuff like that are just trying to bring them self-comfort. Like, I'll never be homeless because I know the rules. And whereas in reality, you stub your toe, the American system could put you in the grave. Right,
exactly.
There's, I think, a tiny bit of me that like, maybe one of the reasons I don't like watching the JCS ones or whatever is that a tiny little bit of me, when you show me a cop, like it's like a guy that obviously did it or something, and you show a cop kind of like tricking him into admitting it with like kind of breaking the rules.
Here he's using the Reed technique.
That teensy bit of me that's like, this cop fucking rules. This guy is so cool.
He's actually like a samurai. You'll see the cop here exercises the samurai wham bam technique, where he deftly maneuvers and tricks the criminal into.
With this in mind, you can confirm that the cop's penis is enormous. The cock's penis.
The cock's penis is a cop.
The name's cock penis.
So the other thing about with JCS stuff, I can't watch JCS stuff without a chaperone. Like I can't, like I can watch JCS if Hassan's watching JCS, but I can't watch a JCS video on my own.
Well, it's helpful to have someone that pauses it for me because I need little breaks.
I need little breaks, and I need someone to be I think the criticism of the propaganda has catharsis, but then also there is something, and this one is maybe going to make me sound insane, but
I should transfer my blood with my son.
As someone who's like highly critical of myself for things that are like very unfair to me. Like an example would be like a relative is asking for money and I've given them lots of money and I don't want to feel like I'm enabling them or I've given all I can give, but it still hurts to like say no.
Well, no matter the context, what is happening is saying no to someone that's asking for
asking for something. And it's like there's a lot of context, but it feels weird, even though you know in your heart of hearts that you've done so much already and you've done more than the average person would. And so I would ask my therapist, like, I feel like I'm a bad person. Like, I feel like I'm a bad person for doing this. And so there's a part of
because there are bad people that do that.
Yes. And so part of the JCS stuff, again, I haven't watched this stuff in years at this point, but I mean, here and now, if like Hassan watches it and it comes with my recommended, I'll like watch it for a bit within reason. Sometimes I do have to like nope out, but there's a part of me that goes, how do bad people think?
Yeah.
And I go,
are they free?
And then I go, do I think like bad people?
Well, that's kind of like how ethics works, right? Is it starts with unconditional education. Like you do not punch people. And you're like a little kid and you're like, okay, I'm not allowed to. And then you get a little older and you go, oh, because it'll like hurt them.
Right.
Oh, I get it. Okay, or now like, the pieces are coming together.
Like I was watching some misogynist dude on YouTube and he was doing...
You watch him a channel?
He was hitting all of the like greatest hits. He was hitting misogynist bingo of like women should be in the kitchen. They're emotional, like guys.
They can't be driving.
Guys are analytical. Guys need to work hard and provide and blah, blah, blah.
They can't be, they'll carry the nuclear codes in their handbag if they become president.
There was a sound or a thing on TikTok that people were stitching where it was like, I hope your trans friends see this or something like that. And then he stitches it with, I don't have trans friends. And there's a couple things like that where I eventually was like, this guy is stupid. And then I stop myself and I go, well, I don't want to call him stupid. And I'm like, what is that? Like, what is that? No, I'm like, what is that? I don't know. I still don't know the answer on it. Cause I think it's just like, there's a level of decorum that I like hold myself to that I try, but also I'm human. So like, it's when I guess I haven't said that on the podcast. When I told someone who was a bad person that everyone would agree is a bad person, that I asked them if they had a rock in their brain.
Oh yeah.
And I still felt guilty about it. I felt guilty about it afterward. I remember it's on a Sad Boyz Nightz episode about Jarvis being confronted by someone he made a video about. So you can check that out on Sad Boyz Nightz. I don't want to give them the light of day here, but I
mean, you are kind of doing the A, B, like the
and I go, am I the same as the serial killer?
Review, and then the result of the review is what stays, as opposed to like assess, instant thought, instant instinct, review. Wait a minute, why do I feel that way? And then if it's bad, you go like, oh, it was bad. There's a sea of like, oh no, wait, my instinct was fine, but it was mean.
My brain goes, well, let's watch this video and make sure you're not in the evil serial killer or whatever.
Let me just break it down. Oh, that's a bad person. Right, I get it.
Okay, cool. No.
Cool, reset.
So that's, okay, and they have no remorse. Like I have to watch, I have to watch fucking O.J. Simpson like laugh while retelling the story about his wife's brutal murder for me to go, oh no, that he's bad.
I think especially with family stuff to some extent, where I feel like the first thing you ever kind of learn unconditionally as a kid is like how to conduct yourself with your family, right? No matter the family environment you grow up in, the earliest thing I remember, like the earliest bad doing thing is upsetting my mom. That's like the first thing ever. And so I feel like that gets buried so solidly that like I was chatting to my aunt the other day and I was mostly with my mum's like dementia and all of that. I'm pretty resolved with it. I feel pretty, went on for a while, so you grieve in real time, but then it's been years at this point, right? Something caught me when I was chatting to my aunt, because it was the first time we were talking about it in a while, because usually we just catch up on like, how's your stuff? What's up? How you doing? We were chatting and I mentioned like, I'd been feeling this guilt about a like specific incident where I just got like so angry and like it's just like yelling like in the house, freaking out. And she checked it and like reminded me like why it was harmless, and the fact that like my mom wasn't even there. It was like was the result of some stuff with that. But it was like the actual answer that it was not a super unethical thing that I did or something I should hold on to had decayed. That part, the scaffolding had kind of fallen away.
Yeah.
And then it's like the feeling bad about it and the moment, that stone. That just like stays. And then the resolving it is like the moss.
Yeah.
Like, I guess the opposite. It's like something you have to water and maintain.
Right. It's like a stone that takes like hundreds of years of erosion from like rainfall or whatever to change.
And you're just like, I think this building's always been eroded. You're like, no, it's fine.
My version of that, my mom who raised me passed when I was 12, but then my great aunt was also like a mother figure to me for basically the time from, I didn't always live with her, but she was like a mother figure for me for like basically the next 6 years until I went to college, and then continually after that. And because they moved and they moved and were kind of like moving around, and I was like focusing on school, and they moved to a place where I didn't know anybody. The first couple of years during college, I didn't want to visit. Because I was like, well, I only have this like little break and I'm taking all these stressful classes. I like want to see friends. And so I prioritized that. She passed away and I didn't get I talked to her on the phone a lot, right? But I didn't get a chance to visit before she passed away. And that left me feeling like I was extremely selfish. Like even now, I still feel like I was selfish about it.
Because what else is there to feel?
Yeah.
And selfish is also like, we're branding that as exclusively negative, as opposed to like, that's a normal way to feel. And
sure. Yeah. And I don't, and it's, And it's not like anyone ever asked me to visit or anyone ever like, it's like that didn't come up. Everyone expected me to just be doing my own thing.
If you visited once, then it's like, well, I haven't visited this year. And then if you did visit this year, I haven't visited this month.
Yeah. Like, and so it's just like, it's like a thing where, like you said, it just like that set in stone that like, oh, I'm just a bad person.
Because it's really easy to feel bad.
Yeah.
Not good, but it's the difference between easy and simple, right? Like, it's not easy, it burdens you.
Yeah.
But it's very simple. It is very simple to like, it's like beginner level novice, like, yeah, I guess I'm bad. Because there's nowhere else you don't have to work on that.
No, I think we cracked it. I think I'm bad and we can all agree.
I think I'm bad, then you have like a therapy session, they go like, well, here's a bunch of conditional reasons why putting that in place. I'm like, what do you know, dog?
Yeah, that's great.
I'm bad.
Agree to disagree.
Understand?
BAD, dude. Bad to the bone.
That's what it stands for. Bad at a bone.
Bad to the bone, add done.
Doge.
All right, enough about our emotions. Jordan, I have to do this. I just made
He's stabbing me.
At 2, Jarvie. Come on. I did a gold video about this podcast, and I know that you don't watch my videos because you hate everything I make and me.
I don't get. They're too loud. I turn the volume.
They're too loud. You turn the volume down, and you also turn the brightness down until it's dark.
Well, I close my eyes and I think it's a brightness issue. I forget.
Right, and then you go, "Oh, I love the new video," and I was like, "What was your favorite part?" And then you say,
No.
"Well, I didn't hear anything or see anything, but I liked the length."
I was in it. You're like, no, that was your channel.
That was your reflection because the screen was black. It's kind of like a Black Mirror.
Oh, like I don't understand that at all.
So these 2 guys, they're 2 guys with a podcast, and I feel like
so far on
I
board.
know. So I think that we should learn from them.
Can I say, just based on what I know so far, and I will not retract this statement, I like them and I like what they're going to say.
You don't know anything yet.
Don't know anything, but I'm confident that whatever they say, and I will double down.
All right, Jacob, click the link closest to your cursor.
The girl just because she's on her period? Like, would you be like,
I'd be excited about the situation, actually. The blood coming from the cervix.
Yeah.
I truthfully believe that it has some divinity to it. I believe that it has healing
I agree with that.
It's just something that I love to entertain and be a part of.
I think that's how you create a soul tie.
If it doesn't create a soul tie, it sure as hell creates a wonderful experience.
If I can't get my sword a little bloody, I'm not a good knight.
What do you think?
I recognize that guy.
I think he was on a...
Yeah, he's called Socrates, pal.
Yeah.
He the book talk?
Apparently. I got a message from someone.
I don't have any strong feelings about that clip. I'll admit that.
You don't have strong feelings?
I don't have strong feelings about that clip.
He like would
It's at least harmless, do you know what I mean? Although the last line, not so much.
It's like, is it?
I think it's because what I was anticipating is like, I literally won't even speak to a woman if they're on their period. And then like, it said it was just weird fetishization.
Yeah, I think that's the issue I have is
scary.
the weird fetishization. And then the beginning part where it was quiet, so I don't know if you heard it, but he said, would you have sex with a girl who was on her period? And he said, I'd be excited, actually.
I'd be absolutely thrilled.
I'd be absolutely thrilled.
Yeah, I think I had to kind of boomerang there because I went like, oh, I'm so surprised it's not just misogyny. And then it caught me with something else really weird.
The reason you recognize this guy is because we did a Sad Boys on him.
This is, I'm a man, right?
Something like that.
I'm in love
Look
with
at
you.
how
I'm
young
gonna
we were.
Shoot you,
You
with
were
a
older.
gun. Okay.
You've de-aged.
Well, thank you so much.
My hair was shorter.
My hair is shorter. Is that, what is that? What could that mean?
What could that mean? Now this is meta.
Oh, this guy, I love her. I'm gonna, I love her so much I'll eat her. God, I didn't know this was that long ago. I just adopted the exact same posture that I suddenly had. Whoa, that's scary. That was weird. It's like a Black Mirror.
A girl wouldn't fart in front of you. Would you feel disrespected?
I would feel left out.
Yeah.
And this is why I started sniffing them.
Okay.
If I'm able to put my nose between 2 cheeks and take in a fart, that shows them I'm very comfortable with you.
Yeah.
I don't believe you.
You don't believe me?
I believe him.
I think you like it.
I might.
Okay. So
I don't think I watched this one in my video. That guy's a fucking freak.
So
dude.
what if
I was
we?
literally about to say cut this out if it's too low, but I was gonna say that doesn't make you comfortable. That makes you a fucking freak.
No,
Yeah.
dude, literally, like, what? Like, it's. But his thing is always like, if a woman does it, I think it's beautiful.
I think there's something to like. It's a little pick me, certainly. Like,
a little.
There's certainly a tidal Scotia pick me if you can spot it. But
If
there's
my girl takes a shit without me, I feel left out.
hello, need help? I
Just stick my nose between those cheeks.
I got wipes. I don't really like. This is a bigger online issue, or like I think symptom of the time or whatever. Not to overanalyze it, but I feel like some online people that are too consumed by this kind of stuff, they cannot hold an interest, a preference, anything without applying some kind of like moral superiority to it or some kind of merit outside of just liking something. It's like, no, I'm not just like, I don't just have like a weird kink. It's actually, I would sit down and listen.
Right.
I would actually, 60 by the way, I would actually
It's like
listen to women.
clinically pick me. It's like scientifically engineered to be pick me content. The
What's
comment,
the line?
No, literally. Wait, can you close your eyes real quick?
Ah.
Click on the one that says there are no names, Jacob.
There are no names that start with a J and end in an N. There aren't. Very concerning. Very concerning.
Is this bait?
Mm-hmm.
You bait me? Can I? Oh, comments. People taking it sincerely for sure. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Can you name one though?
No. My name. I'm Shadow.
Yeah, it can't be you.
John Wick.
Your name starts with S and ends with Addo.
Yeah, John Wick begins with J but ends with K.
John Wick.
John Wick
right.
ends with
Starts
K.
with a J and ends with K.
There I am. Well, everyone going with wait, Jonathan. They added the whole.
They
thing.
added extra ends.
Right.
My middle name's literally Gene. What
middle name?
Why aren't
first.
you noticing me?
It's middle name.
They're saying I don't exist. Can anyone hear me?
Wait, did you see this one? There was a comment at Jacqueline, and she wrote Jacqueline.
I kind of want to comment and say Chris. You know what I mean? Like, it's Chris. Are you guys
God.
baiting? It's fucking Chris.
There's no one saying
it's
that
just
it's
bait.
No one is calling them out for
No.
So many of them, including myself.
Taylor. Damn, so real. I was just thinking that.
No, I need one that says
Jarvis and Jake. What? Wait a second. Hold on.
Wait a minute.
When did my video come out? Well, no, that was 2024.
There's no time to explain. I've come from the future.
What? What are the odds? Let's look at some of the stuff they've recently been posting, because that'll be stuff I haven't looked at before.
Sorry, I really am like sort of unsettled by the fact that we didn't see a single like, guys, why are you falling for this?
I've had guys tell me they don't eat pussy.
That
They don't do it.
And I've had girls tell me that they'll say, yeah, my ex would go down on me, but be no more than 15 seconds until he would just come up and then start.
Yeah.
6'2", by the way.
Inserting into me. It's like, okay, well.
Well, so I watched the long form version of this podcast, and they're just like
learn?
that. They're just like that. Wait, can we do some of these bait posts though for our TikTok?
Oh yeah, you not one out now?
Should we record some?
Yeah, let's record some.
Okay.
Wait, we'll do it to our cameras. Well, or I'll look at you, but we'll use this. Okay. What do we say?
Yeah. Do you ever think like, what would you do if a woman cheated on you?
So I would like look inside of myself and figure out what I did wrong.
Yeah, 6'2".
Who deserved that? Yeah.
No, please, no applause.
Please,
I mean,
no applause. We're having a moment here. Yeah.
I was just at my Mensa meeting that I then also, it was Mensa meeting, Notion meeting, 30 under 30 for most kids saved with charity, most 6'2" guy that respects women the most. And I was on my way home and I was thinking like, fuck, prejudice, fucking hate this
I was
stuff.
just thinking about that.
What do you think about like racism?
I think it's bad.
Oh my God, yeah, it's a woman.
And I was thinking about it the other day and it made me really sad.
Made me pissed off. I dislike it.
Yeah.
Actually, it was what, 16?
But like, I'm 6'1", by the way.
16,
But women are beautiful is
Yeah.
what I was thinking
I
of
like
all
them.
races.
It does feel the same way as like when you try and describe a dream and you're like, and my dad's face was the dog or something.
I want to do one straighter though, not but like comedy wise.
Dude, like
comedy wise, like where it's believable. Well, what is one of their questions? Let's just steal one.
They're hard to think of because
he was on Too Hot to Handle, by the way. That one.
Oh,
the premise of Too Hot to Handle. It's so funny because the way that people react when they find out they can't fuck. It sounds like they've had their rights taken away. They're like, what?
Welcome to Cutting Off Your Feet Island.
Yeah, it's like they witnessed 9/11. Girls ending with A names. I've had guys tell me they don't eat. What's that about? All right. Dude, I've had guys tell me they don't eat. What's that about?
Dude, when I hear stuff like that, my first thought is, wow, I really love like women is what I
think. I was like, if you can't appreciate the perfect beauty, angelic body of a woman,
their form,
their mind, their brain,
the elegance
I love eating because it's the closest I can get to appreciating her mind,
to kind of like finding an angelic state of which all women occupy.
It's the closest I've ever seen to God.
Because women on I am 6'3".
That's a good one. That's a good end.
I'm curious. Can we watch this one? I want to.
Yes. No. Please follow your curiosity because I haven't.
Jacob's looking for damn advice.
I have sexomnia.
What's that?
You know, like sleepwalking? It's sleep f***ing. So I wake up in the middle of the night and I start f***ing.
That's dangerous. You need to be locked in a cage. I hope they put your penis in a straitjacket before bed every night.
Wait, and we're just not gonna ask a follow-up question.
That's like in front of the judge. Like, no, it's sexomnia.
You Your just Honor. Start fucking. Who do you start fucking? And do you have consent?
Your
also,
Honor.
Jacob, you have to go back because we have to talk about the primary issue, and it's the audience. It's not the primary issue, but the audience being like, I volunteer as tribute. Me next, King.
Is this a real thing?
It's called a wet dream. Yeah, no, the question is, do you need a roomie? That's a weird way to ask. What do you mean fucking?
I mean,
that's like requires two people. If you start like humping the bed or something, whatever.
I just don't.
Are you a menace to society? Is that what we're learning?
You know, it's so funny.
Cheeks.
Ultimately.
Oh, that must be the one about farting.
In the lighter like tier ones where it's just like, you guys should be eating pussy. I think it's bad when you don't. That's like, I guess like a net whatever. But there's always this like vibe of like, hey man, I'm just a nice guy. You should let me stay over. Actually, like, we should go to a second location.
We should, and you trust me because I'm nice. I have soft features,
it's
so you
just
must trust me. Right?
Really.
What's
like,
the one?
My shirt's actually pink, so you don't need to be afraid.
I saw another one of him talking about sex.
I just trust those guys less.
Shower sex, impossible. It doesn't work.
You just gotta.
It is harder to do. But there's a way that you shoot the water right on their back.
Right on their back.
Scoops around the butt. All this is air. And you keep it lubricated and you don't let any water get in there.
He's talking about farting.
He said shower sex is impossible and then described shower sex. Yeah.
I got a life hack actually.
That's like he took the like Mr. Beast school of like use a topic sentence and instead of I found 100 boys and 100 girls, it's shower sex is impossible.
You'd think that I wouldn't be able to have sex in the shower.
Like period sex?
Yeah, you just lay a towel down.
Okay. Is this like the content farm? It's like you just get new people on and you ask them if they like period sex? Yeah.
I wonder if these are even in the podcast episodes, or if they do what we just did.
I had all these questions. Yeah. I had all of these questions, and the long form version of the podcast is just them like literally looking at a list of questions and just asking the questions back and forth.
It does kind of speak volumes that you can say it like really, really, really basic shit, and in comparison to a way a lot of people operate online, you look like a saint. It's like, yeah, I don't think I would kill my wife if she was on her period. I don't think I would do that. And they're like,
oh my God.
Thank you for your service.
I think the reason that he talks about sex so much is because he was on the sex addiction reality show.
Yeah, that's true.
Because he was on Too Hot to Handle. I learned after I made the video that he was on Too Hot.
Was it like a more recent season, or do I just not remember?
No, it wasn't one of the first seasons.
His name is Peter Vigilante.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time on that.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's actually my name.
It's like I don't
describe women and say good or bad.
I would consider myself, if I put a label, pansexual, but I know not all men are like this, but it's people like this that make me stray further from wanting to ever date a guy.
Does it feel? It feels predatory.
It does. I'm listening to this and being like, oh,
I don't kill people, by the way. Okay, I didn't know that you might have.
When you see people doing the whole men and women be like stuff on TikTok, how does that make you feel?
Well, I feel like no matter what they say, it's a generalization regardless. And so it's like, I kind of like, when I hear like the, women be like, because I'm AFAB, I feel like it also applies to me. But then it's wrong even if I did identify as a woman. So I'm like, okay, it doesn't really, I kind of just roll past it. So I'm like, this is dumb.
It feels like a more raunchy version of boys like cars and women like dolls.
Yeah.
Or girls, sorry. Girls like dolls, boys like draws.
I would actually...
Let me sniff them cheeks.
It would be really fun to make a version of like this kind of show where it is just like... So I really like red, but I feel like girls like pink. And I like having a red fire truck. I play with that a lot of the time.
I'm not going to lie to you. That is kind of what their long form version of the podcast feels like.
Light periods?
Yeah, you just lay a towel down.
A lot of my friends won't do it.
Dude, I think men need a man the
Right, right. What's a little blood?
You let my worry about that.
We go in the shower and wash my
Or we don't.
You let it marinate.
You let it dry up, and you pull the little period crisps.
Dude, you gotta...
What am I doing?
I mean, it is like, I get it. They're just riffing around. They're just having fun. I just, I think maybe
I'm the opposite of you. Normally, you're the hater, and I'm the one who's like, no, this sucks. This fucking, will not defend it. Don't talk about period crisps.
First of all, name one thing I hate. Don't do none. Name not a single one.
It's also just doesn't come up organically.
That's the thing I find cringe is like, okay, they can be unfunny, right? That's fine. Whatever. Go nuts. People maybe enjoy it.
Oh my God, what the fuck?
Oh my God. Timothy Chalamet?
Yeah, literally. I was like, Timothy Chalamet looks like Contest Who? Wait, we got to watch that one.
He looks adorable.
And she goes, that's it?
Level 1000.
Oh, obviously, she wants me to choke her harder. I choke her harder.
Yeah.
Collapses on the floor.
What?
Actually? I was having a seizure on the floor. Oh my gosh. I don't want to know the story.
Oh no, he had it.
She's kicking the garbage. I was like, so I put her on her side. And I was like, are you okay? I'm tapping her. Are you all right?
Oh my gosh.
And she wakes up. She goes, what happened? All happy. I was like,
so this kind of feels like this is what the show is, right?
As Buddy the Elf.
He would never do that.
Well, you're Buddy the Elf.
It's fucking insane that they open with elf humping.
Yeah,
I also feel like we have to bleep most of the words in that thing. I don't even fucking know if we can show that one.
I guess I'm a hater in the sense that like I hate the content and how it feels to watch it, but what I find more eerie, I don't want to say sinister, just like this yuck is the hey, I'm fucking safe. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Like, fucking, hey, come on.
There are ones in here somewhere of them talking about like crying and feeling their emotions, and it's very, very strange when juxtaposed with the. Anyway, so I was
banging this chick.
I was banging. Anyway, dude, therapy is something I think that really helped me in my time of need.
Do you ever notice how like sometimes you feel bad, but then you have a nice. I'm
not exaggerating. That is what the podcast is like.
Which is, hey. If you want to say that's what we are, they are operating at novice level. This is the black belt tier, okay? And I challenge
I wouldn't say
you
that much. I would say it's brown belt.
I would say it's
for all the
God's
farts
tier
that I'm sniffing.
Oh, geez, what do you mean?
All right, wait. We'll go just by most popular. I'm just curious. Oh yeah, that's the big one. That's the big one. We've seen that.
We did it twice, actually. 2 different versions of it.
Why are the hottest girls in the world always girls that have a name that ends in an A and sounds like
Yeah.
If you find a girl has a name that ends in A and sounds like you gotta marry that girl and hold her down. But also, mind you, she's gonna be lit.
Okay, this one rocks.
Yeah.
That's like last week when we did the podcast where you were Godzilla.
True.
Raw.
If you
this one's
think
good.
your partner's sweat smells good, it means your DNA are opposites. So it means that you guys would have a genetically very good child. So it means that you guys should procreate with each other.
It attracts.
So it's a good thing if your partner thinks that your sweat smells good. It means that you're a good fit to have a very genetically strong child.
That's what we're missing when we do our like roleplay version of this. Is at no point are we going, oh,
This is what people think Dr. Fauci is. They're like.
That made me think of when I was in high school during world history, did my like final project on Napoleon.
That tracks.
And
I
was so hyper fixated on history that year, and especially just like French history.
Why not her story, ladies?
What about
6-1, by the way.
What about their story?
Hey, you know what?
You know what?
Put her there.
What about my story?
One of my least favorite facts that I learned about Napoleon was that he really loved the smell of body odor, and that's what made me think of that. And I'm
that was
like,
one of your least favorite.
So you guys also suck.
What was your number one? Height.
Why do they call it a dictator when you put the Napoleon and out the oven of Napoleon?
When you put Napoleon the cold food and out hot eat the food.
I'll be pissed if I'm sleeping with a girl and I don't have a mirror in the room. They're looking at you, looking at them. It's like, look at us.
Yes.
That
I was
mirror.
just with a chick recently that had a mirror on her wall.
Damn.
Well, she was riding me, and I'm just like looking up.
That's what I mean.
To the ceiling.
Yes.
There are 4 right options and only 2 wrong directions.
I love this podcast is so awesome because it's just men confidently being dumb as hell.
That rules, dude.
It's just like and then look at him looking up. Had a mirror on her wall.
On the friggin' floor.
Yes. Never seen it from this angle before.
I think I'm gonna make a room just full of mirrors
Mirror room.
and make a bed out of a mirror.
I think that, you know what's funny is I had watched so much of their content that I had formed my opinion. And so you do need to kind of go on a journey. You have to go on a journey first.
I mean, that's just like, I don't know. There's also an element of like, okay, this was pick me. Now it's like a little scary.
Oh yeah, wait. This one's like
I don't want to do that.
This one, I think he talks about the bottom, right? The one right below that. Yeah.
In some relationships, it's a thing where like the girl doesn't come all the time.
Yeah, that's pretty sad.
You're not gonna figure out how to make your girl.
I would not allow that.
It's my job.
My favorite comment, by the way, on that one is the second comment where it says, "I have 3 to 4 organisms every time."
I don't know. Again, it's like baby's first considerateness. Do you know what I mean?
They know literally.
I know if they're faking it, if they still look hot while they're finishing. When they start doing the I twitch like, oh, that's when you know they finished.
If it's not looking like an exorcist in there,
You're definitely onto something.
You don't have to publish it. You can just hang out.
It's like
just have this conversation privately.
I promise you that most of their podcasts, to my knowledge, wasn't about sex, but they only clipped the sex stuff.
I mean, it's definitely the most like. I mean, we're literally reacting to it, right? It is like the most noticeable or impact. I mean, hey man,
all right,
you guys
well,
keep it up, fellas.
We have a good time over here. Speaking of dating, over on Boyz Nightz, I have a embarrassing, not conclusion, but continuation of the embarrassing dating story from last week.
In the previous nights.
Yeah. So if you were, last
if you're looking
episode,
for spicy content.
yeah, we did
salacious.
some dating content, and I have a follow up. And then we also investigated a secret society for
the most
established young gentlemen.
For dorky, maybe venture capitalist kids that weigh like 110 pounds.
Where they
each.
all think they're the Great Gatsby, every single one of them.
And they're driving a Bugatti on an ice lake.
And bikini babes everywhere. So we'll be doing that over on patreon.com/sadboys. But that about does it for this episode of the pod.
Zip it up.
Zip it up and zap it down.
How do you feel about that, Peeps? What do you think of zip it up and zap it down?
Yeah, it's all right.
Let's just do we love
It's
you.
all right.
Sorry, they clearly don't like it. Much love. Thanks for coming, everyone. We love you.
And we're sorry.
Boom.
Gucci girl, how you doing? How you moving, girl? Moving, girl. How's your day looking? That future girl, yeah, we on now. Take my money, go away, all you want it.
Girl, too rich for me.